ओम ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणं मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी त्वामनुसन्तयामि भगवद्गीते भगवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमखरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैर्रणनदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाज्ञानकेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः Yānavasthitatgadena manasa Pashyanti yam yoginaha Yasyantam navidu sura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Saraswati Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Arjun, welcome back after the summer. Since we have taken a long break in the summer, I thought we should just summarize what we have studied in the first chapter and part of the second chapter. We have done up to 35 shlokas of the second chapter. So the first chapter begins with a battle scene where we see that the Kauravas and the Pandavas are stationed in battle position, and Duryodhana addresses his guru, Dronacharya ji, and tells him, oh, look, the Pandava army, and look, our army, as if Drona, who is the commander of the army and his guru, does not know what is happening. And he insultingly tells him that those who are standing against us, fighting, are your shishyas, your students, somehow blaming Drona as if it is his fault that the war, not that his Duryodhana's wickedness is the cause of the war. And he keeps on talking, and then Bhishma realizes that he is just blabbering, so he blows the conch to declare the start of the war, and both sides blow their conches, which means the war is about to start. And we see Arjuna and Bhagwan Sri Krishna enter. Bhagwan is driving his beautiful chariot with white horses. And they enter into the battlefield. And Arjuna tells Bhagwan, put my chariot in between the two armies. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna deliberately puts the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona, so that Arjuna should realize why he's fighting the war. And the moment Arjuna sees his grandfather, his guru, and all his relatives, his mind gets deluded. That why are we fighting this war? And this war is going to cause so much destruction in the family, in society, and there will be, men will be killed, women will become widows, children will become orphans. And he says, just for this sake of this land of Hastinapur, I don't want to fight. Not realizing that if he fights or doesn't fight, the war is going to go on because the two armies are already stationed. And he thinks that the war is just for a piece of kingdom. And he doesn't understand that, which Bhagwan will explain to him in the second chapter, that this war is not only for kingdom, not only for territory, but it is a war of dharma. Because who are the Pandavas? They represent dharma, the truth, honesty, sincerity. And the Kauravas, with Duryodhana and all his 99 other brothers, represent adharma, wickedness, crookedness, dishonesty, cheating. And in any society, when dharma loses and adharma predominates, then that society goes down. We also find even in this world, even in the modern age, if the king or the ruler or president is corrupt, is dishonest, is cheating, the whole country goes down. And we find that happening all over. But if the leader is wise, if he's honest and sincere, then the whole country progresses. So it is very important that dharma win over adharma. It can be by election. In this case, it was by war. because the Kauravas had stolen the Pandavas' kingdom and they were ruling dishonestly. The country was going down. And so Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that you are not just fighting for kingdom, you are fighting for dharma, because whoever wins in this war will be the most powerful kingdom in India. And so the whole country's progress or downfall will depend on that. So that is what he's trying to tell Arjuna. So in the second chapter, Bhagavan tells Arjuna that why are you so distressed? Why are you so disillusioned? Because we see at the end of the first chapter, Arjuna's bow is falling from his heart, from his hand, and his body is shivering and he's sweating and he's deluded. He doesn't know what to do. And he says, Na yotse, I won't fight. I'll just go to the forest and I will just meditate. So Bhagavan, first of all, tells him that from where has this weakness come? You are such a great warrior and you were trained to fight. And right now is an opportunity to fight for your country, to fight for dharma, fight for truth, fight for God. And suddenly now your hands are shaking and you're acting like an impotent, weakling. So he first shocks him. And then he starts the actual teaching, because Arjuna says, Shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapanna. He says, I am surrendered to you. I don't know what I should do. Should I fight or should I run away and go to the forest? And what is my duty? I do not know. So Bhagavan starts this teaching in the second chapter with the highest knowledge that all of us are that Atma, that Supreme Self. I'll just briefly go over this BMI chart, which we use a lot. We have some newcomers. So I know myself to be this body, mind, and intellect. Body, the physical body, the emotional mind, and the intellect, the intelligence. So with the body, I perceive the objects of the world. With the mind, I feel the emotions. And with the intellect, I think the thoughts. And we represent vasanas, the tendencies, which can be good or bad. I can have good tendencies or bad tendencies. And based on my vasanas, my actions are good or bad. And Om represents God's presence. Om is God. You can call it Sri Krishna, Lord Shiva, Brahman consciousness. But so each one of us, our true nature is this Om, this consciousness, which never perishes. God never dies. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna that neither you nor I were just born, 60 or 50 or whatever years ago. We have always lived. And not only you and me, but these kings, all of us are that one Om, the one consciousness appearing in different forms. And even when this body perishes, Om or the consciousness will always live. So that is our true nature. So najayate mriyate va kadachit. So neither you or I are ever born or ever die. We are all eternal. So that is the highest, which is the teaching of the entire Upanishads, that you and I are that consciousness appearing in this body. The body will perish after 20, 30, 40, 70, 80 years. But I, the consciousness, will always live. And that is the highest understanding of the Upanishads. So Bhagavan starts with the highest knowledge. And then he understands that Arjuna is not ready, and you and I also may not be ready for that highest knowledge. So then he comes down and he says, okay, you say everybody's born and everybody's dying. He says, yes, I see people being born and I see people dying. And Bhagavan says, then what is to mourn? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, dhruvo janma mritasya. One who is born is bound to die. And one who dies will be born again in another body, the transmigration of the soul. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakt nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. He says, we were all unmanifest. If you say, okay, we are not eternal, we are born and die. Okay, I agree with that. So there was a time we were unmanifest. Now we have manifested and then will become unmanifest again. So what is inevitable, then what is to mourn about? Jo aayega, wo jayega. That is understood. So even from that point of view, you should not be mourning and crying. He was miserable. He said, okay, the third, he tells him, you are a Kshatriya. You are a great warrior. And from childhood, you were trained to fight, to shoot bow and arrow with gurus like Dronacharya, Kripacharya, and so on. And with your own effort, for years when they were in the forest, Arjuna was practicing that when the time comes, I have to defeat the Kauravas who have dishonestly cheated us of our kingdom. They insulted Draupadi. They did everything wrong to hurt them, even tried to kill them, burn them in the fire and poison and so on. So he says these people are wicked. They are not going to listen, with normal conversation. And if we don't eliminate them, it's like a cancer in your leg. If you don't cut off your leg, the cancer will destroy the whole body. So same way, they are a cancer in the society, and if they are not finished. So it is your duty to do that as a Kshatriya, as a warrior. And even then he even comes down to the lower level. He says, if you run away, what will people say? They will say, Bhagya. He was a coward. Arjun was a great warrior until when? Until the war came. When war came, his warriorship was all gone and he ran away. And he had this excuse about, I'm going to the forest. Actually, he was a coward. Darpok tha. And even the ordinary warriors will say, I looked at Arjuna and he in one moment got scared. So people will talk bad about you. And what will happen? You will be insulted, you will be humiliated. So here we had stopped last time, and Bhagwan wants to hammer that point that by running away, what will happen? He says, Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti tevyaya. Your infame, your akirti will go on for long period of time. And Bhagwan is covering that in verse number 36. So chapter 2, verse number 36. If you don't have the book, you can on your phone follow chapter 2, verse 36, or we have Bhagavad Gita, the whole 18 chapters in the office. After the class, you can buy that if anybody is interested. So chapter 2, verse number 36. Avachya vadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. Together. Avachya vadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. So Bhagavan says, Avachya vadam, the words they will use for you, Arjuna, I can't even repeat. Such bad words they will be using. They will call you coward and much worse things than that. Coward and darpok is small. They will use all kind of bad language for you. Why? Because they will say that he ran away. He was just a coward. Bahun vadishyanti. They will keep on talking about you. Tava hitaha, tava ahitaha. Hita means one who is thinking of your benefit. Ahita means enemies. So these enemies, the Kauravas, will keep on talking about you as using the worst possible words that even I can't repeat, Bhagavan says. And ninda, they will be criticizing you about what? Tava samarthyam. Your courage, your bravery, your strength. They will say he had no courage, he had no bravery, he had no strength. he was useless, and all such words. And tataha dukkataram nukim. And what can be a greater sorrow for a great warrior who is respected by the entire society? Because, young boys, when they want to become archers, they would look at Arjuna. They say, I want to become as great as Arjuna, great warrior. And so many youngsters look up to you. And now, what will they be thinking about you? What will they be? It's like a young boy who wants to play football. He says, I want to become a quarterback like Joe Montana or Patrick Mahomes. Or a cricketer, he wants to become like Sachin Tendulkar. Those are the role models. I want to be as great. So young boys and girls who will look up to you for your courage and bravery, now what will they think about you? So Bhagwan says, so here we do write some points you can follow. So Bhagwan says, you will not only be infamous now, but throughout history. You can close the door fully so sound doesn't go out. Not only now, but throughout history, even 100 years, 500 years from now, people will remember there was a great warrior, Arjuna, and what happened to him. So these people who are ahita, who are not your enemies, they will speak avachya. They will speak words that is not worth repeating. And they will do your ninda, and the criticism will happen constantly. And for you to hear that, to listen to that, how sad it will be. So people know you. And as long as they know you, they will remember you. And not only now, but this will go on because you are such a famous warrior. And this war is so important that people will remember. It's like the Second World War. Even 100, 200 years from now, people will remember how important that was. So same way, this Kurukshetra war is even today, we remember thousands of years later. So people know you. So this reminds me of a story of Einstein. So when he was just starting with his theory of relativity, becoming famous, so they used to invite him, to give a talk or just invite him to conference. And he would wear very old and useless clothes. So his wife said, you are going to this conference, why don't you dress up a little bit? He says, I'm a new scientist. Nobody knows me. So how does it matter what clothes I wear? Nobody knows me anyway. So she said, okay. And after a few years, he became very famous. Everybody knew Einstein, and they used to invite him as the guest speaker. And again, he used to wear those dirty torn clothes. So his wife said, Abhito, you have become so famous. Now at least wear good clothes. He said, everybody knows me anyway, so why should I wear good clothes? So either way, but Arjuna's case was different because Bhagavan says that people know you as a great warrior. They look up to you. And if you get insulted, humiliated, or mistreated, tato dukkha taram nukim, there cannot be a greater sorrow than this. Because it's like for example, we have example of presidents and prime ministers, who did wrong things. And for example, Nixon in Watergate and, other leaders where they are on top, but then they are found guilty of some crime or some wrong action. And then the whole world comes to know and it stays on forever. So same way you are so great and you will be remembered as not as a great warrior, but as a great coward who ran away from the battle. So do not run away, stay and do your duty. And that is what Bhagavan, the whole Bhagavad Gita tells us how we should do our duty in the right way, in the right actions. Here, of course, Arjuna is fighting a war, but how does it apply to us? We'll discuss in the next shloka, 37. Hato va prapsyasi swargam.
Hato va prapsyasi swargam.
जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गम् जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. So Bhagavan says this situation is a win-win. You know, sometimes we say, well, it could happen win or lose. He says, in this case, there is no loss for you at all when you fight this war. Why? Hatova, in case. Hata means in case you get killed in this war. You know, when you get in a war, either you kill or you get killed. That's how it was. So if you get killed, prapsyasi swargam, you will go to heaven. Because a warrior's duty, a kshatriya's duty is to do the right thing and to fight for the right cause. Like a soldier, you know, who has been trained in the army from many, many years. Society has fed him, trained him, taught him. And then when war is declared, then it is his duty to defend the country. You know, he cannot say that I don't believe in war. If you didn't believe in war, you shouldn't have joined the army. You could have become, you know, a plumber or a scientist or something, businessman. But if you are in the army, then that was your duty and you have been trained and that society has taken care of you. So here also, if you do your duty, and even if you die, it is said that Kshatriya who dies doing his duty, a warrior goes to heaven. Why? Because he has done the right thing, fought in the right war. So one is if you die, you will go to heaven. Chitva va bhokshase mahim. If you win, you will enjoy the kingdom. You will be the king. The Pandavas will be ruling and you will enjoy all the comforts of this kingdom. And then when you die, ultimately, again, you will go to heaven because you have done the right thing. Tasmat, therefore, uttishta kaunteya. Oh, get up, Arjuna, get up. Because Arjuna, as we said in the end of the first chapter, was sitting on the chariot, you know, like that, all depressed, dejected, and his bow not in his hands, and he was sweating. And he says, get up and do your duty, O Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, because the reason he says, because he says, your mother Kunti is such a noble soul. She's such a great woman, and you are her son. And as a son of Kunti also, you should do the right thing. See, sometimes they say, no, oh, you belong to such and such family. Your father was like that, your grandfather. And how come you are behaving like that? So same, I know we had a teacher, she was, if your older brother or sister had passed, it was a boys' school, if your older brother had passed through her class and had gone 9th, 10th grade and you were in 7th grade, she invariably will say, you know, your brother, he was so nice, he was so good. Brother may have been a rascal, but she will say, he was so good and look at you. So I remember that very clearly. You know, she used to, anybody misbehaves, if your brother or sister was there, you were gone. So here he says, Uttishta Kaunteya, oh, you are the son of Kunti, get up, Yudhaya Krit Nishchaya. You should fight and be determined to fight. Krita Nishchaya, Nishchaya Karke. So as we said, it is a win-win because Arjuna's life was for fighting. And Bhagavan in the 18th chapter, he says, Swe Swe Karmani Abhirataha Samstidhim Labhate Naraha. An individual who does his or her duty sincerely, he reaches the highest. His mind gets purified and he is ready for them. And whatever, you know, in his case, it was a warrior. For maybe for another person, he may be an engineer or maybe a scientist or maybe a housewife, maybe a mother, a father, a child. So wherever you have been placed in whatever position, do your duty to the best of your ability. So for a scientist or a researcher, the duty is to research, teach, professors. For a warrior or a politician or a leader of the party, leader of the country, it is his duty to run the country well, his or her duty. Now we have a woman standing for president, so we cannot say his, we have to say his or her. So it is their duty to fight or to run the country. For a business person, it is his duty to run the company well, run it efficiently, earn money honestly, not by cheating customers, earn money honestly by hard work, and then give a portion of that back to society, not to keep everything that I have earned. It is our duty. Whatever we earn, part of it has to be given back to society in service. So for a teacher, a businessman, for a politician, these are his duties. But there may be a fourth group, what we call Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Shudra does not mean low class. What it means is that there is a person who neither has the skill to run a business, nor to run the country, nor to be a professor. He says, I can work. So that is the workers. So you give them a job, say a secretary in the office, or a factory worker, or a farm worker. Whatever job is given, construction, you just give him the job and tell him, okay, 8 to 5, you come, this is the job, he will do it. So he says, whatever your duties are, wherever you have been placed in life, in society, do your duty to the best of your ability. And that was the 4 classes or the 4 castes were based not on birth, but on training. What is your mental ability and what is your training? That's why Bhagavan says, Chatur Varnya Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashah. The 4 castes are based on guna and karma, on qualities and actions, not based on birth. So it does not mean a Brahmin son should become Brahmin or a Kshatriya. Later on, the caste system was perverted and wrongly. So here he says, get up and Uttishta and fight. Now, people always question, your religious books teach us fighting. Your Bhagavan Sri Krishna says war, and so it is situational, because Arjuna was in a situation where he had to fight. There was no choice. Even if he ran away, he would feel sad afterwards, and the Pandavas would have lost because he was the best, and adharma would have prevailed. So he says that is your duty. For you and me, we are not fighting a war. We don't have a bow and arrow or a gun. But fight means whatever field you have been placed, things will not be always easy. Things sometimes will be good, sometimes bad, sometimes success, failure. So we have to do our duty, because life, there will be always conflict. So fight means do your duty wherever you have been placed. And even if challenges come, do not give up, do not. So for you and me, fight is to do our duty in society and do it to the best of our ability and not give up, not surrender, not say, oh, I can't do it, I'm hopeless. No, we have to do our best. So that's why he says, fight here, it means do your duty and do it in the right way. So this is verse number 37, where he tells him that no matter what happens, you will win. You will be a winner. Now we'll go to verse number 38. That's one of the very important shlokas. And there are a few shlokas throughout the Bhagavad Gita which have a lot of meaning. So this one is the whole essence of Karma Yoga. Because Bhagavan in the 3rd chapter, in the next chapter, the whole chapter will be on Karma Yoga. But in this particular shloka, he has summarized Karma Yoga, because the 2nd chapter is a summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Whatever Bhagavan is going to tell, From 13th to 17th chapter, Bhagwan will mention in the second chapter in brief, and then in the 18th chapter, he will summarize. So here he is introducing the topic of Karma Yoga, which he will be explaining in detail in the third chapter. So this is a very important shloka. That's why we kept some more time for that. So shloka number 38. Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Labha labhau jaya jayau.
Labha labho jaya jayo.
Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Naivam papamavapsyasi.
Naivam papamavapsyasi.
Together. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Naivam papamavapsyasi. So how should we work in the world? Very, very important. We all have to work. Nobody can stay just lying down and doing nothing. So how to work? Bhagwan says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Sama means the same. Same, what is in English is same. Here sama. Sama means balanced. Kritva means having made your mind balanced. Where in sukha dukkha, if there is joy and sorrow, labha, alabha. Labha means gain, alabha means loss. And jaya, ajaya, victory and defeat. So in life, situations will come when there is joy and sorrow, when there is gain and loss, when there is victory and defeat. They will happen. But even when that comes, remain sama, remain balanced. Because in life, fluctuations will happen. Things will not always be the same. And yudhaya yujyasva, and do your duty, na evam papam avapsyasi. You will not incur sin. So what is sin and what is duty? So as we said, this is the summary of Karma Yoga. Karma means activity. Yoga means that which is united with the higher. Yuj, from yuj it comes. So when my mind is connected with the higher cause, it could be for the family, and higher than that is for my community, my society, and higher than that is for my country, and higher than that is I work for the whole world. These Mahatmas and great teachers, their teachings were not confined to one country or one state, but they became universal messages. Look at, Jesus, Buddha, look at Shankaracharya, Swami Chinmayananda, all these great gurus, their teachings are immortal for the whole world. So Bhagwan has given three pairs, Sukha, Dukkha, Labha, Alabha, Jaya, Ajaya. So Sukha, Dukkha is at the level of the mind. I'm happy, I'm unhappy, I'm sorrowful, mind that feels the emotion. So Sukha, Dukkha is at the level of the mind. Labha and Alabha, gain and loss, is at the level of the body. I got something and I lost something. And Jaya and Ajaya, victory and defeat, is at the level of the intellect. So bodily, there could be problems. Mentally, there could be joy and sorrow. There could be success and failure. And what happens to most of us when there is sorrow or failure, we get dejected. I can't do it. But Bhagwan says, or if things are going well, we get overjoyed. Oh, there is nobody as great as me. So Bhagwan says, do not let your mind go up in success and down in failure. Be balanced. If I have success, it is because of Bhagwan's grace. If I have a failure, okay, I didn't do well, but next time I will do better. So in life, these things will happen. So Gurudev gives an example of a lighthouse. See, there is a piece of wood, log of wood, and when the wave comes, it goes up and goes down. So up every wave, the log goes up and down. So we are like that. Things go happy, we are happy, and then things go down, we get dejected. But Gurudev says, be like a lighthouse. A lighthouse stays in the same waves, but is firmly anchored to the ground. And no matter how bad the waves come, the lighthouse remains anchored, does not deviate, and becomes a source of guidance. The lighthouse in the olden days used to guide ships into the port. So similarly, a wise person, somebody like Swami Chinmayananda or Shankaracharya ji, these great masters not only shows us with their life how to live life, but they become a source of guidance even hundreds or thousands of years later. Buddha lived more than 2000 years ago. Jesus, Shankaracharya ji, Swami Chinmay. So these great masters are firm in their knowledge and they become a source of wisdom for us. And why do they do that? Because they have an inspiration from within. How do I get inspiration? When my life is connected with God. If I think I am the doer, I just do it, then I easily get disheartened, get dejected, or become overjoyed. Oh, I am so great. And I become arrogant. And then next time something doesn't succeed, I become so depressed. But if I say I am a humble servant of the Lord, Lord is working through me, Lord is doing everything, I am just an instrument in his hands. With that attitude, then whether success comes or failure comes, all the credit goes to Bhagavan. It doesn't go to me because he is the one that is doing everything. And I am just like Swamiji just told us, like a pen which is writing. Pen has no credit. Pen will write whatever the writer asks him. If they want to write a masterpiece, pen will write a masterpiece. If you want him to write some dirty novel, pen will do that. It depends on the thinker. So same way, when Bhagwan is doing everything, then obviously I only will do good. So I surrender my actions to Bhagwan. And when I do that, when I surrender to Bhagwan, you are the doer, I am an instrument, then my vasanas get less. These vasanas are my tendencies, which over the lifetimes, I keep on doing something, and most of these tendencies, vasanas, are considered to be the wrong kind of tendencies, wrong vasanas. And when I become proud or arrogant or hateful, why? Because it has built up over not only this lifetime, but many lifetimes. So we are born with certain vasanas. So when I do actions dedicated to Bhagwan, become his instrument, slowly I, me, and my become less. It's not I, me, and my, it is he alone that is doing it. And slowly my vasanas reduce, and slowly my mind becomes purified. Because I am not the doer. How does the vasana get strengthened? If I say I did it. But say Bhagwan is working through me, then the vasanas will become reduced. And Master said that we are made of 4 parts, all of us. One is the body, the mind, the intellect, and the spirit. So body, mind, intellect, and consciousness. So we are all made of 4 parts. And for actions to be good, all 4 of them have to be coordinated. So say physically, I do something, but mind says, I don't think we should do it. I don't feel good about doing it. Physically, I want, but mind says, I don't, I'm not happy doing it. Or intellect says, it is not the right thing to do. Intellect is guided by scriptures and says, no, you shouldn't do this. Whether it may be lying, cheating, stealing, whatever, or hurting somebody, getting angry, violent. So they say scriptures don't, say that. So even though I may do it, but intellectually I won't be happy, or mentally I won't be happy, like I have hurt somebody, or somebody has hurt me, and that. So when they are not coordinated, then life will not be good. And the highest is the spirit. Will God be happy with my action? See, that is the number one. Whether I do something physically or mentally or intellectually, but is God pleased with me? So that is the number one quality, number one criteria of doing actions. So all four parts should be coordinated, and that is called a yukta personality, a person who is united. So in Arjuna's case, it was the right thing for him to do to fight the war because he was fighting for God, for Dharma, but his mind got confused. He said, I don't think it is the right thing. And he became emotional. Okay, my guru is there, my grandfather, my cousins. And so his mind was taking him in the wrong direction, even though his intellect was saying this is right. God within him was telling him. So that's why we have four parts. They all have to be coordinated. And when they are not coordinated, then that becomes sin. Gurudev says sin is not in the action, it is in the reaction. When I do something wrong, it leaves a feeling of guilt or feeling of bad. I hurt somebody and then I feel bad. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Or I cheat, on my taxes or something. And then I'm afraid, if I get audited, if I get caught. So sin is what reaction it leaves in your mind. And so that's what they are saying. So sin is what Gurudev says, you are not punished for your sin, you are punished by your sin. One is you do something wrong and say you get punished, you get fined, or you go to jail. Other one is you don't, none of this happens, but in your mind, you are constantly thinking, I shouldn't have done it, I shouldn't have done it. So, and where does sin come? From avidya, from ignorance. All of us are divine. We are all God's children. We have God's presence within us as home, but not knowing that, or even knowing it, but not keeping to that high, goal, high purpose. That avidya means ignorance. So even though I am God's child, even though God is within me, I forget that out of ignorance or whatever. And I start acting in a demonic way. Instead of acting like God's children, we act like children of Rakshas or children of, So the point is that avidya leads to karma, leads to karma. When I do not know that I am divine, I am that child of God, that is my true nature. When I don't know that, then I get the wrong desires. So I have this desire, by getting this, I'll be happy. And then I get something, then I want more. And even I start doing things dishonestly. And then when the desire comes, then I get jealous. Oh, that person has more, I have less. I should not only have mine, I should take his also. I should cheat them, hurt them. And then if I have more than somebody else, I get arrogant, I get pride. So this continuous desire leads to wrong actions, kama, krodha. And I get angry if I don't get what I want. Lobha, I have more greed. All these wrong ideas come out of desire. So avidya leads to kama, kama leads to karma. Avidya leads to wrong desires, and then wrong desires lead to wrong actions. So that's why they say that sin starts from ignorance. If I know that I am child of God, I am divine, that is my true nature. And That idea is firmly embedded. That's what the study of the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures tells us, that we are all divine. That's why Bhagavan, right in the beginning of the second chapter, starts with telling him, Arjuna, that you and I and all of us are that one divinity. We are all one consciousness, expressing as all these different names and forms, male, female, young, old, short, tall, black, white, Hispanic. So these are all our manifestations, but we are actually only one. Just as one gold expresses as various ornaments, necklace, ring, bracelet. One mud expresses as different pots, as cup, saucer, jar, jug, vase. So similarly, one consciousness, Om, is expressing with all these variety of body, mind, and intellect. So in life, when we are working, there will be problems. That's why he says there will be joy and sorrow at the mental level, success and failure at the intellectual level, gain and loss at the physical level. So these things will happen, but a wise person remains balanced. It's not that he becomes like a stone or nothing happens. It's like somebody died, oh, it's okay, somebody's birthday, not like that. But inside, of course, when something good is happening, he enjoys. When something sorrowful is happening, the wise person has sympathy. But inside, he knows that everything is changing. Even joy comes, that will go. Even sorrow comes, that will go. Nothing remains permanent. This world is constantly changing. This world of objects, emotions, and thoughts is constantly changing. What was yesterday is different from today. And next week or next month or next year, things will not be the same. So a person who can remain sama, balanced, samatvam yoga uchyate, Bhagavan says in the later of the Bhagavad Gita, that equanimity of mind is yoga, is the right thing to do. Remain balanced, and only way we can remain balanced is remain connected with God. Once you are connected with God, then you know that life will give joys and sorrows, but my mind is always in God. And we find in the lives of these great saints how much sorrow they had. Look at Mirabai, look at Tukaram, look at Sant Gyaneshwar, how many problems they had in their life, but they faced them without complaint. But their mind was always with God. And for that, we have to prepare ourselves. See, it doesn't happen that easily. Life will give problems, will give difficulties, but if my mind is prepared, how? With the right knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, the right guidance of gurus like Swami Chinmayananda and other masters. Last week, we had Swami Aparajitanandaji, beautiful talks he gave, how everything is good. His one thing was everything is perfect. And that's one message. So these Mahatmas teach us how to live our life, how to prepare our mind. And then we don't go very easily up and down. There is a saying in Sanskrit, Shane Rushta, Rushta Kshane Tushta, Rushta Tushta Kshane Kshane. He says some people are Kshane, one moment, Rushta, they are unhappy. Kshane Tushta, second moment they are happy. So happy, unhappy. Rushta, Tushta, Kshane Kshane. So these people, you don't know. One day he is very happy, other day he is depressed. So let us not be like that. Let us be calm and balanced and be sama. That is the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. And while doing the actions, do the right thing without worrying about what will be the result. I do the right thing. I do actions dedicated to God, surrender to God. Result will be good automatically. And if it is not good, never mind. I'll start all over again. So clarity of knowledge is very important. And that's why we study the Bhagavad Gita. And we'll find in the Bhagavad Gita that these ideas will be repeated from time to time. Why? Because Bhagavan Sri Krishna knows that we forget. Whatever we hear, walk out in half an hour, it's gone. And somebody says, "Oh, what was taught in the Bhagavad Gita class?" "Oh, I don't know, something, Krishna had." So we don't remember. A week later to forget it. Nothing is. So again and again listening, and that's why it is good to have the commentary. If you can show that. So we have this in the office. These are all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And we have just started the second chapter. So this 18 chapters will take about 8 to 10 years. So these books, it has a word by word meaning of each shloka and a very nice commentary by Swami Chinmayananda, beautifully explained. So again and again, when we listen to this knowledge and then go home and read, what Swamiji and Gurudev has said. So by repeated listening and contemplation, the knowledge becomes firm, it becomes pakka in our mind. And so then only the knowledge becomes clear. Otherwise, it doesn't stay. Not only happens for me too, if I sit for Swamiji's lecture, walk out, 90% we don't remember. Only way to remember is to listen again. You can read in the commentary. Also, these talks are recorded and put on the website. It's called firstpower.info. If somebody needs at the end, I can give that. You can write it down. First power is one word, .info. And these talks Amit is the one who does that. He will put them on the website and you can listen to them again tomorrow. So repeated listening, repeated study, repeated thinking is what will make this knowledge firm. Otherwise, listening once or twice, and a lot of the people here, we have been listening and discussing and in study groups talking about it for many, many years. So the more time you spend, the knowledge becomes clearer. And that is what ultimately determines culture. And what is my culture? And we all are, our culture is the Sanatan Dharma, the ancient knowledge of the rishis, which is thousands of years old. It is, Sanatan means it is beginningless. We don't know when this Sanatan Dharma, which later on they call as Hinduism, but it's the Sanatan Dharma which is timeless, beginningless, and it is going on. And it is our duty to understand this knowledge, abide in this knowledge, and pass it on to our children. So that's why it is important to bring our children or grandchildren to Bal Vihar, because here Swami Chinmayananda ji is the one who started this teaching in the 1960, around 1960, so more than 60 years ago. And we have volunteer teachers who are teaching. So when from childhood, when this knowledge is given to children, then it shapes their culture, their behavior, their whole life. So this is what we have studied today, that first of all, Bhagavan says that people will call you a loser, they will call you a coward, they will use all kind of bad words about you. If you run away from the battle, they will call you coward. And then he says it is a win-win, because if you die, you will go to heaven. If you win, you will become the king. So either way, you will do well, because that is your duty. And that is what you were trained for. And then the last verse, we found the essence of Karma Yoga, that I should do my duty regardless of what people say about me. Even people may criticize, people may not like me. But if it is right thing to do, I will do it. And eventually that's why in our motto of our country, in India, our Bharat is Satyamev Jayate. Truth alone prevails. Ultimately, the truth will shine, will always win. Untruth will always go down. So thank you very much. We have finished here. Next week is Labor Day weekend. There won't be any class. We'll meet in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, it is Ganesh Chaturthi. So we'll have a half an hour Bhagavad Gita class. And then we will go into the main hall to do Ganesh Puja. So we'll meet in 2 weeks. Right now we have 10 minutes. So anybody has any questions, comments, even on the Zoom or in person, please feel free to ask any questions, comments, anything. Anything you agree, disagree. Amit, you can put them on gallery view, please. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, okay. So we have people on Zoom and in person. Sure, thank you. So any questions, any comments, anything you would like to add? You agree, disagree? Ansa, anything you'd like to add?
The only thing I can say is that war.
Little loudly so they can hear
The
on
only thing
Zoom.
I can say is that Arjun is fighting war in the Kurukshetra, but we fight our war within us. And that's where we have to take the challenges and make the right decisions at the time. That's the difference than his war, which is our war. So we need to watch what our minds are thinking,
Right.
what decisions we make. And I mean, you can surrender to God, but your mind setup is more important. You train your mind, make decision, makes the decision. So the thing the decisions come from your intellect and mind. Ultimately, in Upanishad they said you do sadhana to purify your mind. So your mind will become servant to your intellect and not mind become the boss of it. So it's important to fight the war within our own life and with the mind guided by intellect.
Right.
We can say intellect with the Krishna here and
Right. Arjun, right. So Hansa said that for those who are on Zoom, that we are all, Arjuna had to fight the war in Kurukshetra, but we have the war within us, where the mind and the intellect, the mind has to become a slave of the servant of the intellect. But when the mind starts doing its own thing, then there are problems. So in life, our war is within, and we have to have the right knowledge of the Upanishads. And mind is Arjuna and the intellect is Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So same way within us, we have to be guided by the knowledge of the scriptures. And the conflict is within all of us. The war is within us. So by doing the right thing can only happen with the right knowledge. Thank you. Any other comments? Any questions? Ambika, yeah, go ahead.
So isn't our life, like for most of us, entire life is a battle of Kurukshetra, right? We're constantly making a choice between every action, everything we do is a choice between right and adharma and dharma, right? So the whole life is like that. So it makes sense that you, as early as you can, you listen to talks like this so that there is some guidance for you, rather than just saying, oh, I can just read a book and get the knowledge. So I just think talks like this, these are very important for us. And we should try and spread the word as much as possible to others who feel, like we have friends who feel that, oh, what good does it come? What good do we get by coming and attending a lecture? We can read the same stuff in, Gurudev's Gita, the same thing is here or in somebody else's Gita. So I just feel that as, we should all encourage friends and people who don't come for these lectures to at least make an effort to come once or twice and see what you can gain from it. Because life itself is a battle throughout. We're constantly making choices, and sometimes we make the wrong choices. And so it is good to have some guidance in our lives to show us how to make the right choice.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So I think Hansa, for those who couldn't hear on Zoom, Ambika said that in life we are constantly faced with choices. Do this or do that, right choice or wrong choice. And the words of the Bhagavad Gita and his text guides us. And she says that coming to such classes where we listen and we discuss helps us to make the knowledge clear. So we should not only come, but encourage our friends to come to the class, or even on Zoom, share the Zoom link with your friends and relatives, so that people and get the benefit of this knowledge. That's so we are always making choices. So what do I make, a right choice or a wrong choice? Depends on the knowledge. Do I have the right knowledge or the wrong knowledge? Thank you.
Sometimes we tell what's right and what is wrong. And you debate in your mind, you do everything, and there's still that wrong wins. And that's a hard one to do. Like, I should watch TV or I should read a book. But really watching TV is not good so much like reading a book. And that's just not what I do.
Yeah, again, that is because of the vasana, because of the tendencies, and TV or the phone is a very dangerous instrument, because we should control the remote of the TV, but TV controls our remote, decides. Or same thing, phone. Once we get on the phone, then you're going on WhatsApp and this and that and email and then we are constantly surfing the web, and also the mind gets very quickly disturbed. And in the modern age, it's gotten worse, because olden days they used to have one channel, black and white, and Krishi Darshan. That's all you could watch. Now we have 180 channels, 200 channels, and the phone has infinite amount of information. And so we have to be very watchful and decide, okay, I'll watch this much, limit it, okay, maybe half an hour, 1 hour, essential things, and then put the phone aside. And then, so willpower has to be there. And that is a problem for all of us, me also. When we get on the phone, we get very quickly disturbed. So yeah, but you're right. It's a very difficult. It's a constant struggle. But
I think you should be able to distinguish between it's okay to have a phone and watch on TV, but when something comes up that you have to do it, you should be able to break it immediately. Right. It's okay, 5 minutes more and I'll come. No, that is an attachment that I need to finish this program.
Exactly.
So you should be able to break that and attend to what's needed at the time. That should be done.
Thank you. So we'll end here. So next week, there is no class. In 2 weeks, there will be the Bhagavad Gita, but for half an hour. And then we'll do the Ganesh Chaturthi celebration. And children will be making Ganeshas today. They have made in their classes. And in 2 weeks, we will do Ganesh Puja and then Visarjan. That will be done. So, and we do have lunch every Sunday. So please stay for lunch, everyone. Those who are here. And also, if you would like to sponsor, there are spots available. Because every week we have somebody or the other to sponsor the lunch. So please do that. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Hari Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityu Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.